Hi, and welcome to another edition of Newsmakers Journal of the Vaccine Year. I'm Jerry Roberts. It is Friday, July 16th. And in a big news week, we are joined by some of the top local journalists, including the two most sought after young journalists in Santa Barbara. Welcome to Ryan Cruz, who today has joined the staff of the Santa Barbara Independent. Congratulations, Ryan.
Thank you.
Jade Martinez-Pogue from Newshawk, and of course, the ubiquitous multi-platform Josh Molina from Newshawk and his
Rising TikTok star. You
I thought you were
forgot
going
that.
to say multi-platinum.
and his eponymous podcast. You like how I worked the word eponymous in there, Jade? All right, so Jade, starting off as we always do with the pandemic, the head of the CDC today warned of a pandemic of the unvaccinated as the highly contagious Delta variants has numbers spiking all over the country. And also kind of taking up here. Things are not all great in Santa Barbara. What's the story?
Yeah, these past few days, I think the Delta variant, along with, California reopening in mid-June, 4th of July, we've seen in Santa Barbara County case rates go from under 10 in mid-June to yesterday there was 50 new cases reported. So it's just been going up, I guess, slowly. It's not super dramatic yet, but it is definitely something to be worried about for those unvaccinated people, especially.
And I read a story in LA County. Every single person who's been hospitalized has been unvaccinated, and it's the Delta variant. Is that also the case here?
Yeah, they don't do like daily data on the hospitalizations if they're among vaccinated or unvaccinated, but public health officer Henning Anzarg has said that I believe since May, all of the COVID related deaths were of unvaccinated people, and the ones who are in the hospital, facing the severe disease and illness are unvaccinated people as well.
And we're still right around 50% vaccinated of the total population, not of the eligible population, right?
Mhm.
Which is more like 60%, which pretty much tracks with what the numbers are nationally. Except, like I saw this map this week, and it overlaid new cases, Delta variant cases, with the electoral college vote. And all of the states that voted for Trump are the highest unvaccinated states and going up. So this is all Delta variant stuff, huh?
Yeah, and the state released vaccination rates by zip codes somewhat recently, so we're able to see like which areas in our county are more vaccinated versus others, and the ones that have the lowest vaccination percentages are also the zip codes that have had like the highest case rates since the pandemic, primarily up in North County, Santa Maria area.
And at 2:36 p.m. on Friday, where is the guidance about masks at this moment, which seems to change?
Right now, our public health isn't requiring any additional masking or changing the rules as of yet. I think I saw today that San Francisco recently changed its masking rules, and LA also, but I think the cases have to go up significantly more for our public health department too.
And I think in the city, the only time basically is public transportation, as I've seen, where you need to wear a mask.
The
Other than that, post office, there you go. And then private businesses, stuff like that, they're doing the honor system of if you are vaccinated, you don't have to wear it.
Yeah, and it's going to be a big deal when people start going to school. Ryan, we're going to talk in a little while about the policy out at, or the lack of policy, or the conflicting policies at City College. But it's funny because, like I'll go into Gelson's and half the people are still wearing masks and half the people are not wearing masks, and the staff is wearing masks. So, and the guidance, as I understand it, for going back to school is kids are supposed to be wearing masks now, right?
Yeah. universally masked.
I think it's kind of outrageous that the schools are not offering a continued remote learning program for the kids who or parents who don't want their kids masked in the classroom with everyone else. I imagine that will change. The local Democrats who are on the boards will probably have to wait until the more powerful Democrats higher up in the chain tell them what to do. It would be nice to see some leadership from them because they're not offering a remote learning option. They are offering an independent learning. So, you can kind of be homeschooled, but the remote learning option where you have the interaction with your teacher for Zoom for, part of the day seemed to work for a lot of students. So I just hope we don't go down this seesaw as it relates to doing what the science says and the lawmakers responding and the science changing and the lawmakers responding. It'd be nice to have some leadership and just sort of stick to it.
Well,
Yeah,
we got
it
the
almost seems
recall.
like sorry, that everybody's kind of waiting to see what other schools are doing, and they're kind of waiting to jump at make their decision and waiting for the universities to decide this is where it's going to be and kind of follow suit. That's kind of what they did when schools closed. Like as soon as the big universities closed, everybody else kind of followed suit.
Well, yeah, UC this week, I guess, said there's a mandate to be vaccinated. But, and of course, the big political stories, it's out there, the September 14th recall. So we can imagine that Gavin Newsom will twist himself into knots 3 or 4 more times. All right. And Josh, who's joining us from our Newsmakers San Leandro Bureau, which is, I guess, why you see guys jogging and riding bikes back and forth, and Josh sort of looking around nervously. But
my kid picked up a tennis match with somebody here on the court. I heard him pick up basketball, but not pick up tennis. So I'm just trying to make sure he's safe over here.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, Josh. So big news this morning, and you were first with it. I just checked on the Indy website again. They still don't have a story up about Paul Casey, the city administrator. I guess you wouldn't say it's abruptly, but it's kind of suddenly resigning. What's the story?
Well, first, I want to welcome Ryan to the professional circuit of newsmakers. Ryan is an amazing journalist, the future of the industry, as I like to tell him privately. But seriously, though, this town's going to be a lot better with his journalism. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do at the Indy. I'm not looking forward to it. I know what he's going to do. He's probably going to kick my ass on a regular basis. So I welcome it. But now to the story at hand. Okay, Paul Casey. All right, so Paul Casey announced to the council Thursday night. He didn't announce, he called them. He said, I'm stepping down. And, it's not like the hugest surprise in the world, but it is a surprise because Paul is 55. He's still relatively young. He can earn more if he keeps working in retirement. And he's decided that he is going to basically call it quits. And it comes at a time of a really difficult year for the city. Obviously the pandemic, but he has had to deal with pressure from the business community, pressure from the developer community, pressure from, we've had litigation, we've had lawsuits. He's hired several city managers, city department heads, I should say. And it's been rather grueling for him. It's been a very difficult year. And probably the worst part of it is the total lack of leadership on the Santa Barbara City Council. They're all kind of, going into business for themselves. And what I mean is they're all sort of actively trying to do things that are going to help themselves and their districts politically going forward. And when you have that, it's really difficult to have any kind of cohesion. And so I think to some degree, Paul's probably a little bit, okay, I'm out of here. Let's see how you guys do with somebody else. We have a lot of novice council members. District elections has allowed people to get elected without a vote, or in some cases without an opponent, there's not a lot of competition for these seats anymore. So what we have is a novice council, and we have Paul, who's sort of like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm gonna, go do something else. And I think the big news is he's doing it on his own terms. I would not say that he's being pushed out unless there's something I don't know.
All right. Well, I think you're right. And I think, dealing with the knuckleheads on the council has got to be, very difficult. The first all district council and a lot of novices and rookies, as you point out. But, there's also been this narrative of, let's name names, Ed St. George, Ray Maboob, all these guys trying to push him out. Is that what happened, do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think that Paul is resigning because there's 4 votes to oust him. I don't think that's the case at all. Obviously, when business is unhappy with government, they look at the top because they think government runs like a private company. So they look to, who's the CEO? Let's take them out and replace them. That's not how government works.
But what's
Now,
plan B? I mean, so now what happens? I mean, okay, I agree with you. I think he's leaving on his own terms, and I think he deserves really high marks for the pandemic, for the fires, or flood, and so on and so forth. But I can also see. I just say, who needs this?
I don't think
what happens now?
I don't think the council knows how lucky they had it with Paul Casey. Paul Casey's not perfect. It's a really hard job. He clearly made some mistakes in the past year, but somebody with that kind of experience is really helpful. He's sorting things out for them on a weekly basis and helping them get to a vote. What's next? They're going to appoint somebody to fill his shoes. Who's that going to be? There's lots of rumors about who that might be. They might look to the past and get somebody who's been in City Hall before, and so that's a possibility. I don't want to jinx anybody, but they might look at somebody who's been a long-time community development director to step up, well respected in the past. Maybe they'll appoint Rebecca Bjork, who's the assistant. There's lots of possibilities, but they need some sort of stabilizing force.
Well, and now this is going to reveal one way or another the leadership or lack of leadership of our mayor, who is on the ballot, because suddenly she's out there kind of exposed. And what's she saying about all this?
Well, to be honest, Jerry, I believe she had a quote in the press release, but I have not talked to her. I spoke with Alejandro Gutierrez, who feels like Paul is doing the right thing, stepping down. It's time for change. And he's looking ahead and seeing the writing on the wall and doing the right thing. I talked to Megan Harmon, who said he's done a fantastic job and she'll miss him. And I've talked to actually former Mayor Helene Schneider, who really gives him props for doing a good job. So I don't know, I think the mayor will probably thank him for his service and his tremendous leadership during the pandemic, the debris flow, managing the budget. Insert your own 3 or 4 or 5 other talking points and move on.
Right, but the issue that you began with, which is, the council's all freelancing, I mean, that goes right to the mayor. She has not herded those cats in an effective way. So it's going to be really interesting. How long is he going to be around?
He's here till September 10th. If you look at it at the newsroom, Jerry, if your editor leaves and a whole bunch of your middle managers leave, there's some problems with management. And that's what we're seeing at City Hall. They have 2 employees, city attorney and the city administrator. The city administrator is saying, I want out of a job in Santa Barbara where you make $280,000 a year. No one does that unless they're.
Well, he's going to make twice as much as a consultant in the private sector with his background and his knowledge and 25, 24 years for the city. So Ryan, we had another surprise resignation this week too. Dr. Goswami said he had enough at City College, and he was what the 26th leader out there in the last 4 years or something.
I think it's 6, but
Tell us what's going on with that.
yeah, you could say it's a surprise. You can also say that there was some writing on the wall with what's been happening with at Board of Trustees. I mean, if you've been there the past year and listening to Board of Trustees meetings, you've kind of saw the honeymoon period of his first year come to an end, and people kind of started to criticize him of inaction and not really responding to things. There was a Joyce Coleman situation that happened. There's a lot of different things, and especially coronavirus, where people feel like he didn't really do enough and wasn't really strong enough with making mandates or stuff like that. And I think the real point was the vote of no confidence that was coming, and that
faculty.
From the faculty, I think there was I don't know the exact number, almost 300 that wanted it to be mandated that people were vaccinated before they come to in-person classes. And there was a few board members against that, Veronica Gallardo and some other ones, and Goswami kind of was on that side, and he didn't really support this mandate to have people vaccinated. And that made the faculty, from their point of view, say that this isn't safe, like to have everybody kind of just honor system it and have students mixed in classrooms together. And I think that vote was coming along, and I mean, you could tell kind of in the Board of Trustees meetings lately, he's kind of, I don't know if you say lost interest, but just getting a little fed up with people criticizing him. He started to get defensive, like, oh, it's a hard position. There's so many ins and outs. There's coronavirus. But what I was surprised was after the $20 million gift that just came, that it seems like you'd want to stay and try to see that one through and see what you could do with that.
Right, the 20 million from Mackenzie Scott, the former partner of Jeff Bezos. But so where were the Board of Trustees on that? I mean, you know, I guess I would put them maybe one step ahead of the City Council on the knucklehead scale, but they were split on this, were they not?
Yeah, they were split on this. There was 4 members, and I mean, as far as we know, that vote of no confidence could still come against those 4 members. We'll see when the Board of Trustees meeting comes this weekend.
And that's Veronica Gallardo and Peter Haslam, Robert Miller, and Kate Parker, right?
Kate Parker,
so they voted for no vaccine mandate.
No mandate. They're of the opinion of mostly like people should be able to, shouldn't be forced to have a vaccine if they don't want a vaccine. I think they tend to vote towards the center or towards the conservative end of vaccinations and stuff like that. So this is kind of playing to that. It's going to be interesting. It's weird that they chose Kathleen Scott to be the interim at first.
Who is she now? Who is she?
She was just hired, I believe, to replace Pamela Ralston, and they kind of slid her in. But I think Helen Benjamin's actually going to come back and do a limited run, kind of like what she did last time, and kind of I don't know if she's going to set everything straight, but she's going to kind of be at the helm for, I don't know if she's going to do a full year. I heard it's going to be a shortened period of, she's going to give a deadline, like I'll come and work for this long and you guys got to find somebody else after that.
Yeah, and the role of the faculty senate, Josh, I know you don't cover the City College because you work there, but just in terms of the sort of meta politics of the dynamic, what's the role of the Senate?
Well, the academic senate has gotten real strong, kind of with the last year under Rayanna Napoleon. She's been very outspoken of what she wants to do, and when it was first equity, diversity, inclusion, and they were all about that and supporting Asian students, and they've been very outspoken in every kind of facet of that, and they created the faculty town hall, the town hall for the community of City College. So I think her and Robbie Fisher were kind of on the forefront of this push to kind of put the board trustees in a position to make this mandate and have the faculty voice heard of. This is what the faculty thinks. They're not comfortable coming and teaching in person with students that haven't been vaccinated and some students that have been vaccinated. Can we just come to agreement that, and if right now they have a survey system at the school where if you come on campus, you fill out a survey that you haven't had any symptoms or stuff like that, but you don't have to prove that you've been vaccinated or anything like that.
If I could just say that the big story here is Goswami and the college hiring somebody who did not know the Santa Barbara City College culture. This is a problem we see over and over and over, where they go after somebody from the outside thinking these fresh eyes and fresh perspective are going to bring some change. And Goswami was a huge letdown for the group who thought he would be that. He ended up not being like that, and he ended up clashing with the very progressive new leadership change at the academic senate. And so it's sort of a case of be careful what you wish for. You thought this candidate, when they hired him, what was it, a year and a half ago? I
Yeah,
mean, not
20 months ago, 20 months.
January 1st.
And he's supposed to be the one, and then everybody loves him for 6 months, and then they don't, and then he's gone. Dr. Peter McDougal has been, the one superintendent that's been, super beloved. I think
I would add John Romo to that very short list too, Josh. I mean, I think he did a great job and lasted a while. But you're right. I mean, having been in that position, Santa Barbara is a very difficult town to parachute into and to take over some institution, to the leadership of some institution that's important. And you really got to work it. I mean, you got to go out and mix it up and meet people. And, obviously it's been impossible or difficult to do that during the pandemic, but it didn't seem like he made much of an effort to do that, to get to know people and to.
Yeah, that was one of the main criticisms. And I'm sure it was really hard because of COVID. And that was kind of what he kind of reiterated multiple times, that it's hard doing everything through Zoom and you can't really meet people, but it's really it's going to be interesting in how City College is going forward. Because,
so what's the next step?
Well, Helen Benjamin's going to kind of take over, and
they're going to have another national search committee.
I believe so. And
same people that did this one.
Yeah. And so it's going to be, I mean, there's some instability. There's a new EVP, there's a new athletic director. I mean, there's going to.
Yeah, I mean, it should be noted that Dr. Goswami's executive vice president quit earlier this year, resigned. So again, these things are, they're surprises when they happen, but if you connect the dots looking backward, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Jade, at the Board of Supervisors, I guess, got an update. We have this ongoing debate about criminal justice, law enforcement, incarceration, and so forth. And there's been a push to try to get all the players to work, play nicely together, or at least find a set of facts on which they can agree. What's the latest on that?
Yeah, so it wasn't, the update was from the district attorney's office, and the Tanya Heitman from the probation department gave a little update on their data dashboard. So basically the district attorney's office just highlighted some diversion efforts that they're doing. The Goleta neighborhood court program is one of them. There wasn't too many specific diversion efforts that they highlighted or talked about, at least. It was a fairly brief presentation. I think they gave him a time limit or something because John Savernick was just talking really.
So is the data dashboard done or not done? Are they?
The probation department is live right now. And she said that the sheriff's office portion is expected to go live soon. I don't remember if she gave an exact date, but they're almost done with that. And they said that they're still working with the district attorney's office to incorporate them into the dashboard. But I took a look at the probation dashboard. It is good. It was interesting to see. So
better than nothing. Yes, better.
Yeah, they acted really fast.
One thing I liked about that, they did have the ethnicities, the ages, and genders of everybody. They have kind of a more detailed info on the demographics of people that are on probation.
Yeah.
I had kind of a question. I don't know if you knew. Do you think that part of this is towards COVID and the push to kind of get people not to be in jail? So if they did get arrested during this time, like we're trying to divert them and have them do probation or another program? Do you think that kind of put into that?
Yeah, and there's been this debate between the sheriff's office, public defender, district attorney, where the jail population was so low during the pandemic, obviously because they would only put the big offenders in there, um, and I think like the board of supervisors, they want to see that jail population like stay that low. They're saying if you could do this for a whole year, you didn't really save any money, or like, where's this money going? Or I don't know. I think there's this desire to want to keep things like they were operating during the pandemic, not putting as many people into the system, into the jail. But the sheriff's office seems, they're like, that's not going to happen. It's going to go right back up.
Yeah, well, and I think, well, we'll find out who's right on that.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, real quick, I hear that Randy Rouse has raised a ton of money very quietly behind the scenes while there hasn't been a lot of news in the mayor's race. Anything new? I see also James Joyce put out a press release that he was running again. He pulled papers, so I guess there's not much news at all. If you have to remind people that you're running. Anything new on the political front?
Well, Jerry, I was, in your neck of the woods in San Francisco most of the week, so I can't say I'm up to speed if there is any news with fundraising reports. I know Randy was going to show a lot. I know that Kathy already has raised a whole bunch. Sort of interesting to see what James is going to show in terms of, if there's enough oxygen for him to raise money, in this contest. I'm really interested in the Barrett Reed, Kristen Sneddon contest. I think Barrett Reed is going to raise a ton of money, and I feel like that contest is going to be a little more competitive maybe than I thought it would be back in January, February, when we're hearing the rumors of him running, hearing more people saying good things about Barrett Reed. I don't know if they live in San Roque and can vote for him or not.
Well, I guess that's my question. I mean, political consultants can always spend money, but how are you going to? What are you going to spend that much money on 1/7 or 1/6 of the city of Santa Barbara? I mean, it's a little microclimate of politics, and you can only get so many mailers in the mailbox before people start to react and say enough already. So, I'm interested to see where he comes down on these two housing bills, Senate bills that you wrote about a couple of, I guess about a month ago now, because Kristen has come out against them, and I think that'll end up being a big issue. All right, we got to go. Thanks to Josh Molina and Ryan Cruz and Jade Martinez-Pogue for taking the time out of your busy Fridays to do it. Josh, I hope the tennis match is going well and you find your way back. Ryan, congratulations on your new position, and Jade, congratulations on your continuing position as well. All right, we'll see you all next time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks.
Oops. What did I do?